Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the channel and thank you so much for taking your own time out to check out this video. My name is Mike, and if you're brand new here, welcome. Thank you for taking your own time out to check out this video. If you come back, welcome once again. So this video is going to be without minimal edits as much as I can, and it's purely going to be more of a chat discussion video because as of this video, 1 or 2 days ago maximum, Player One Events and Supernova, who own Insomnia Gaming Festival, have announced that they've gone voluntarily into liquidation. Now, if you guys know this channel, if you've been here before, you know that I've been to Insomnia Gaming Festivals many times, including vlogging the experience, and I usually tend to go the amount of times it's on, usually twice a year, and this has been the case, guys, since maybe around 2015. So we're now in 2024 as I'm recording this. So that is 9 years of my life. Pretty much I've been going to this event twice a year. Now, of course, I didn't know about it back in 1999 when this first started. It was a small LAN event anyway then. So basically this company's been going for like 25 years almost. So that itself is an incredible achievement despite some hiccups and flaws, which we'll get into later in the video. But this is all about my experience of Insomnia, what I think of the news, and ultimately, you know, what could be next. So with my experience of Insomnia, I've got to give a big thank you to my sister Natalie, who I'm not going to put a photo here on YouTube, but she is the one who introduced me to Insomnia Gaming Festival because she knew that me, her son James, who's my brother, pretty much, well, nephew, but he's pretty much my brother. He's lived with me in my entire life. James and like my brother Daniel, we went to Insomnia because she knew that we loved gaming. I remember we went to Birmingham, and it was like her, my mum, me, James, and again my brother Daniel, and we got to experience Insomnia for the first ever time, and it was great. It was a magical place. It was somewhere I thought, wow, you know, somewhere you don't have expectations and you just want like a fun-filled few days. Insomnia was great. It gave you that in spades full, and just the amount of stuff they had and the big name brands they had there was just sincerely incredible. You know, like PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, and so many more. There's far too many to name, but I'll mention a few others as we go along. So after experiencing this first ever Insomnia, I loved it. I got the real like big vibes for it, and I was like, wow, this is somewhere that I want to go twice a year. This is somewhere I want to make like a little weekend away of, and I want to go to Insomnia and experience what they have got to offer for gamers, whether you are expert level and you game every single day of your life, whether you're a casual gamer, whether you're an adult who maybe supports your kids now they're doing gaming. Whatever the case should be, this was an event that was for everyone. After getting the feel for Insomnia, I would go to this twice a year. As I say, I would make a weekend of this. Now, most of the time after that part, I would normally go by myself. Simply because, not to say that I didn't ask anyone, or not to say that I didn't want anyone to come with me. It was just purely the fact that sometimes, like my nephew, my brother James, like Daniel, or anyone like that, they were just kind of like, nah, look, I don't really fancy going this time round. No, you just go, right? So James, my brother's probably been with me the most, and it was great because he met Syndicate. That was our first ever Insomnia. He met Syndicate, and at the time I didn't know who, you know, Tom Cassell was. You know, Life of Tom. I didn't know who he was. And then later on in life, as I started to watch his channel, I actually got to meet him when he did an Insomnia, and I also got to be on his vlog.
First of all,
also,
yeah, who's that?
Also, that was my nephew. I met you about 5-6 years ago, but at the time, and I've watched your vlogs, and it only last 1 year and a half. I've been watching.
Did he get you into him?
Yeah, and he got me into your
Oh
vlogs.
no! Well, thanks to this guy for getting you into the vlogs. But more importantly, can I just show this for the vlog? Look how sick this tattoo is, all the way down, Back to the Future, and then flip it. And the Joker, that is insane!
And then that's Michael J.
Oh, I didn't even see that!
That's his actual autograph. I met him in London a couple of
You
years
met
ago.
him?
Yeah, he's my hero.
Whoa!
So that alone was a really cool experience, and a one that I'll never forget. But also a really great experience was at the time seeing that my really good friend Alex and James had got a Guinness World Record. Yes, Guinness World Records was at this event one time, and both of them have won world records. Now at this point they're probably been beaten, but still they held the record for that time and still go down in the history books, and that was all because they were at Insomnia. So there's so many cool things about it, like the event itself, the people you may meet there, the people who work there also. Sometimes like they were really great staff members, and they just felt like a lot of love and a community and a sense of community at these events, which you could really tell and you could really feel, and you could really just get that kind of warm vibe when you went in. Even if you were queuing for ages to get on the latest game or onto a VR experience, it had something for everyone. So as the years progressed, again, I still really loved it up until around, say, 2019, 2020, because in 2019 and a few years before that, they used to also have Konami, and I loved that they had Konami there because I love Yu-Gi-Oh! So as the years went on, it still was great, and I still then got to get my kind of older brother involved, my brother Joe. He never experienced Insomnia before, but he heard us like talk about it so many, and then kind of last few years, although I still used to go twice a year, I got to bring him along. We actually did a kind of fancy dress-up, costume, cosplay, whatever you want to call it, into Cobra Kai gear, which was pretty cool. A couple of people stopped us for photos, which was pretty awesome. But again, that was just like a fun, different experience, and adding to kind of my history with Insomnia. And those moments, you know, and memories will never be taken away. They're really cherished, and they'll always be here, whether it's on the channel, whether it's in own personal photos and videos, wherever they're stored or however I choose to share that media. It's really just great to just be able to look back at that time very fondly. I just want to say it very quickly, a shout out to anyone who has worked at Insomnia, because I have never done that. I've never volunteered at the event, so I don't know how much planning and preparations goes into this, but I do know someone that was a volunteer there who did get made into a contractor. Shout out to Matt as well, and I got to meet Matt at EGX, completely different gaming event, but I still got to meet Matt, and he had been doing Insomnia for years, and he would kind of give me a little bit of an insight of how it was to set up. He said, you know, it wasn't easy, it's very meticulous, there's a lot of things to unpack and set up in a short amount of time, and I can't imagine how easy or hard that would have been. So I can't comment on that, but I do want to say a big thank you to all the staff at Insomnia for helping to provide people like me a chance to experience this event and make it welcoming, friendly, being helpful whenever you can. Like, it really, really is appreciated. Now, where I want to kind of change this up just a little bit is going into a little bit more of my negatives and a few of my gripes that I've had with Insomnia within the past few years, which I ultimately think has probably led to this standpoint. Now, of course, there's more logistics to it around the background. Once we used to have Insomnia back when, again, we used to have like PlayStation, Nintendo, Xbox, Konami, Bandai Namco, so many big names at these events. I mean, heck, they used to have like Sony Spider-Man display for the brand new Spider-Man game coming out that time, or like Gran Turismo or Iron Man VR, and that's just PlayStation, never mind Xbox titles and Nintendo. But where this started to go downhill is around 2019, 2020 time. Now, of course, in 2020, everyone knows what happened in the world. Now, in this time, of course, Insomnia was not a thing. It didn't happen. It was, of course, wanting to be happening, and of course they wanted to make the event, but they couldn't, simply because of lockdown restrictions and, you know, all that kind of stuff, right? So because of that, I can't imagine how, you know, again, logistically, that was for the people who owned it, the costs of keeping the branding, the names, if that it plays a factor. Then, of course, you know, losing money, because if you've got contractors at the time, yeah, you might not be paying them while there's no event, but you still got them on hand for when you do. But, of course, any profits that was maybe made, who knows how that was spent or distributed, right? Only people who are officially known with Insomnia would know that information. So if anyone does have any more information on that particular subject, again, leave a comment down below, because I would love to know logistically a little bit more of the background in that side of things. When the kind of world opened back up after the big event in 2020, Insomnia did make a return. Now, it was great to have the event back, especially after the absence, and especially wondering, okay, well, how are they going to do this event on a return? Is it going to be as good as it was? Is it going to be even better than it was? Because at plenty of time on their post, they promise this is going to be bigger and better, and they're going to, it's going to be a fantastic experience, right? And I can say I still enjoyed Insomnia. Yes, not as much, I will be quite frank and open and honest with you guys, but I still did enjoy it. It's always been kind of like, I'm kind of been a sucker for it, right? Again, just with my entire experience of first ever time experiencing the event all the way up until present day. I've always enjoyed Insomnia, and this is the heartbreaking thing, which we're going to get into very shortly. But after this time, the first couple of events, kind of post when the world would kind of open back up, it wasn't too bad. They're starting to get some of the bigger names yet again, like Sneak Energy was there, Nintendo was there, and like EE, and they started to get like different providers, more branching out, more PC network, and then of course you've got to move along with the times. But I did start to notice that there was less representation of especially Xbox and PlayStation. Now, of course, they officially weren't there, but they did have some PS4 and PS5s, but it's not just that was affected. Of course, there was like the retro zone that got even smaller than the first ever was. As I mentioned, there was far more PC gaming than there ever was. There was bigger selection of the indie zone, which is cool because there's brand new developers, making the game, and hopefully one day maybe get it signed out and out there in the world. And heck, who knows, the possibilities are kind of endless. So they did expand on some zones, and they also kind of shrank some zones as well, which ultimately I think played a factor in a little bit to a downfall, because for people like me, and I can only comment for myself, I'm not a PC gamer. I've never played PC in my life, except for maybe Insomnia, where I've tried out a game or two, but that's about it. Now, it's not because I am so honed in on the PlayStation, because I've always been a PlayStation guy, and I've never wanted to play any other consoles, because when they had Xbox representation, I would play it. When they had a Nintendo Switch, I would play Nintendo Switch, because at one point I did own a Nintendo Switch. It's just the fact that PC gaming personally just never appealed to me, but I do know it has an absolutely avid, loved fan base, and a lot of people are just solely PC. Right, and that's cool. Everyone's got their own choice of gaming platforms and systems that they like, right? That's cool. Got no problem with that in the slightest. However, when you've got people like myself who don't play PC gaming, and this kind of touches in to the last few vlogs I've done of Insomnia, where I've said, right, I'll do a video after the fact to tell you what I didn't like about it and a bit more of a downfall of Insomnia. Well, you're getting this video right now. So for people like me who only do like, say, Xbox or PlayStation or Nintendo, basically anything besides PC, you are pretty limited to what you could play, because again, if you did not like PC gaming, or you've never done it and you didn't want to get into that avenue, you're shut off from a lot of the attractions there. They also had more attractions where they would have like esports events and university teams playing off against one another you could watch, but again, they were all like PC gaming, and you're just watching them play off against one another. So again, that took up more attraction stands than actually having a section for Sony or for Microsoft Xbox. Those were eliminated. There was most of the times they didn't even have Nintendo. One or two times they did, but when they did have most of the Nintendo, they were so fixated on having just tournament zones, primarily with a few other Nintendos nearby you could play on, but primarily for tournament zones. So you're eliminating a lot of the audience and attendees right there, because you are not giving them a chance to play on a console, right? So you'd be walking around the event, and most of the times I would do laps to try and keep myself entertained, find something else a little bit different, maybe find something that's in the back that I didn't experience. Of course, everyone went to buy this event how they did. So with eliminating those big platformers, and I can't imagine how much it costs to get like that company represented there. Again, logistically, let me know down below if you actually know, because I personally don't. But the problem, as I mentioned though, is when you focus so much on PC gaming, or in the indie zone where primarily they are PC games, with a few exceptions where they'll have a controller, so it's a bit more adaptable, and they're personally adapting to people to play on controllers if they're not used to PC. But besides that, they'd maybe have like a battle arena section where they would have, say, Fortnite, the most recent one, or Minecraft. And again, if you don't like Fortnite or Minecraft, which were primarily big battle areas for like people to go in for tournaments, you're eliminating a lot of the general public attendees who are coming because they're not going to go on Minecraft. They're not going to go on Fortnite. So the game selection I started to find was very little. There was a few parts where at the most recent Insomnia in March of 2024 I attended, I went and visited the EE stand. And with the EE stand, they actually had some PS5 set up with like Cyberpunk, for example, and a few other games that wasn't the games I've mentioned just before, or just FIFA, right? So that was great. I was like, right, well, why is there not more of this here? Why isn't there more options where there's more gaming stations of PS4s or PS5s even, with just even an array of games? Why was that not there? For example, I know this is a different event, but EGX, when I went in 2021, they had multiple PS4 set up. They had a trolley full of game cases, loads of games, and if you want to play one, all you did is go to the volunteer and tell them, right, look, I would like to play this one. They would give you the disc, you put it in, and then when you're done, you give them back the disc. And yes, I know you could say that's a trust thing and possible steal and all that kind of stuff. Yes, that's definitely a factor, not to alienate that in the slightest, because I'm not. But it still gives people more of a chance and variety to go on any game that they want, a different game, but also it keeps people entertained because they're like, wow, here's this game from like PS4 that I maybe loved, and I would love to complete this again in like one sitting, or I'd love to play it for a few hours while, say, like my kids off playing Minecraft, or niece, nephew, whoever, or Fortnite. But they didn't really give anyone that option. So by not having those big developers there, I felt like it was a big missed opportunity, and also kind of felt like they were cutting back on budgets, because the kind of big representation brands that were there would be Monster, which awesome, but again, who's going to be drinking Monster, like, you know, playing like loads of avid gaming, unless you're playing pretty much PC gaming? Then they'd have Pringles, which, yeah, cool, I mean, who doesn't like Pringles, but kind of what's the point of having them there? So there was definitely just a lot of questionable decisions, and in this last Insomnia event that I went to, there wasn't really much there for me to showcase and give like anyone who tuned into that video a really great vlog or fantastic experience of what this event offered, or, you know, say to people, right, you know, rush out and buy tickets to go to the next one, because I was like, no, I'm dreading going to kind of the next one because it's not getting much better. The one before that, Insomnia 71, I actually did 3 or 4 days in Birmingham for the first time in the longest time, and after day 1.5, I was bored. I was like, how am I supposed to keep myself entertained through this? It just wasn't enough there. It used to be a 4-day event, and it went down to a 3-day event, because I think they took feedback as 4 days was far too much. Can't imagine how much like staffing costs and NEC cost higher, venue higher, all that kind of stuff, you know, that will play a factor into it. But the pure fact is, they didn't have enough there to keep 4 days entertained. I honestly think this should have been maybe a 2-day event. Absolute maximum. They would not have enough stuff to keep you entertained for 3 days. Maybe back when they had like the Guinness World Record, PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, and all these other big names that were there, not just all PC gaming or watching esports events, then yeah, it probably would have been more entertaining. You probably could justify 3-4 days easy. But yeah, not as such. Not as such. So moving on to kind of the last part of this video, and I'm going to try wrap this up very quick soon, is recently, of course, they announced the dates for September when they were going to do Insomnia in September of 2024. But there hadn't been any news for a few weeks, and I was like, hold on, they usually put tickets on sale pretty quickly, of course, to gain interest, make sales, of course, stop maybe paying the cost of the NEC venue hire and the contractors and secure all them, that kind of stuff. But there was no dates at all, and I was wondering, okay, I wonder what's going on. And then I saw a post on Esports News, I believe it was, where they announced mass redundancies, kind of out of the blue, really. And I was like, okay, I mean, that kind of makes sense as to why there's no Insomnia news or, what's going on with these September dates that were originally announced. And then with the mass redundancies, I was like, okay, that does not sound good, and that does not bode well for people who, work there, and the contractors who I still believe have not been paid for Insomnia 72, and I don't know who else is not being paid. Again, financially stuff, I don't know that information, but my thoughts are definitely with the workers who still took their time from their weekends and maybe took time off work from their jobs to be like, let's give this a chance for Insomnia and let's, put myself out there. Like, I know a content creator or two, not personally, but they went to Insomnia and got a creator pass, and they were hoping that maybe this was an avenue out of their job, or this was going to be maybe a start of a, a different career, something that they're interested in, like, and passion with, like games. But ultimately, that's not come to fruition because they've maybe not been paid. But also, the event is now pretty much to this point, the whole point of this video, also with a liquidation status. So the only way Insomnia could probably be saved is if someone buys out, Supernova and Ready Player One events, takes on the debt that it's incurred, pays the workers if they don't get paid, and maybe one day could see the return of Insomnia. But as of right now, guys, I'll be honest, it's not boding well, and it's heartbreaking. It really is, not just for the workers that spend their time and weekends and have made friends and really close friendships throughout this entire time and who are still waiting to be paid, but also for attendees like myself and others who would go to this twice a year, would take the time off work or whatever you do in your life to go to these events as a way of like an escapism and a bit of a trip and time away from the normal everyday life. Unfortunately, that's kind of been taken away with what's happened with Insomnia, and from an event that I was introduced to about nine years ago, which is a long time, to now be taken away. It's an absolute shame. It really is, and it's heartbreaking. It is kind of lost for words apart, because say, as much as I did not like the past couple of Insomnia events, and that was evident in my vlog videos where I did say, look, it wasn't the best, I was going to make a future video, I never did, out of respect of like the staff members. That's why I've held off on this video from the last Insomnia. But now it's in liquidation, I thought, well, okay, and then now, I could at least make a video now and talk about my experience and talk about my actual thoughts, which, you guys have got. But yeah, it's just a shame. It's a shame. So, Insomnia Gaming Festival, I do want to say, thank you to anyone who did own Insomnia and, have these events for all this time, provide some really great moments and memories, and I met some really cool people through Insomnia and some experiences with my own family as well. And just thank you so much for those memories. I truly, from the bottom of my heart, I really, really do appreciate them. But again, guys, my thoughts are definitely with the workers at this time. As of this video, I really hope something gets sorted. I really hope that they do get the payment that they're truly owed. But yeah, what's your thoughts on this situation, guys? Have you been to an Insomnia Gaming Festival? Like, did you have very fond memories? Or like, what is your favourite memory from Insomnia? Leave a comment down below. If you've never been, was an event through vlogs you may have seen online that you thought, hey, maybe I was going to check this out in September, but you didn't get that chance. Again, guys, let me know. But just in general, any thoughts on Insomnia? Yeah, let me know. Thank you for taking your own time out to check out this video. I really, really do appreciate it if you're sticking around at this point. Definitely give the video a big thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel by clicking the red button down below if you already haven't. Feel free to click the link down below in the description box to my Patreon. Memberships from only £2 per month, and you get access to early videos and exclusives, especially exclusives that you'll never see here on YouTube. In the meantime, if you want to have a little bit look through time and history, click over here to see some of my past vlogs from Insomnia. And until next time I see you guys, I'll be seeing you later. R.I.P. Insomnia Gaming Festival.